So those are the family, that's the family history. Now, my father himself, William Franklin Smith, was an All-American athlete and was shoo-in to be a football player, for the major leagues. And because there was the time of the color line, this was before Willie Mays broke the color line. And so he was before that time. That affected our lifestyle, that affected our way of life. We couldn't enjoy what other people enjoyed. We could have been, me and my brother could have been living like O.J. Simpson's kids. So that block right there, no, you're not welcome in this. My father, I would say, he went on to become a school teacher, and he was a single parent. He was not political. He was a survivor. He was one that was concerned about, I got to make money to take care of my kids, and so he was a school teacher up in Harlem, in the Harlem school system. So he was not one to do any strikes with other teachers to gain more money or anything like that, and he was not one to rock the boat. I don't know how he got me, because I'm a boat rocker. And he knew it too, because I'd be rocking his boat. I was always outspoken, basically. Even if it meant my high tan, I would say what I needed to say, I would get it out. And he respected me for that, because my brother would hold it in, and he would think it, and my father would say, "Shut up, you was thinking it." At least he said it. So I'm just taking you way back. I'm still saying it. I'm still speaking. I'm still saying, and I'm like, if there was any injustice in my own household, I spoke out on that, and I'm speaking out on our household of this planet. And I'm saying one people, one earth. One people. One earth. One people. One earth. One people. One earth. All right. So, growing up in Harlem, I tasted the anger. I was a part of the anger because, I came up and I did have privilege. But privileged people lived across the street from the underprivileged people. You were still in the same neighborhood. This is the ending stages of segregation. So that split right there meant that I had to fight every day. I had to fight every day, and I had a good heart. I wasn't thinking about it, but when you get punched in your face a few times and you start fighting back, and so this anger and the aggression comes from being bottled up in a community. So that's my personal now. I got to deal with my own people about things that they don't understand, anger that they don't even understand within themselves. And it was a good lesson for me. I did become a good fighter. I did begin to get my point across. I didn't start fights. I didn't bully, but when I dealt with bullies, they knew that they had to pack a lunch to come at me, and they didn't want to pack a lunch. They wanted to pick on somebody that was just easy. So it kind of got me, to again where I'm at today. I still don't like bullies, and I still see that there are bullies who is a steward of this planet. So speaking out against that, I spent 10 years. I want to just run this by you real quickly. I did jail time twice, because I spent 10 years, in the streets, and that was misguided rebellion, you would say. I was of that age where they were looking for people to drive. They took my brother out of college. They were just snatching people, and they were sending them to the front lines of the Vietnam War. And Muhammad Ali came out at that particular time, and when I heard his voice, it was like, that's exactly how I feel. Them people didn't do anything to me. I'm not going over it. And so I didn't go to college because I didn't want to get snatched out of it, and I was at home and went into the streets in case they came and said, how come you didn't get your draft card yet, you know? And so I went to the streets, and the street people taught me how to survive. Drug pushers, pimps, hoes, you know, prostitutes, they all took care of me. And they showed me, you know, their way of living, you know, but I just say that to say that they were good hearts, good people, misguided, like I was, you know. That's the subculture is a rebellion. You got to understand that people go that way because it's rebelling against something that they don't fully understand, but they know just ain't right. It ain't serving everybody, you know. And so I found good people out there. I did that for 10 years. I came to Worcester, Massachusetts, and Worcester, Massachusetts is a lot slower. I was quick around Massachusetts. I had that New York energy, but Massachusetts closed down at 2 o'clock. New York, they'll never sleep, you know. So I had to slow down, you know, because it was slower here. And when you do slow down, you are getting more rest and you're getting more sleep, and you know, you begin to think more clearer and more better. So I began to see other ways, you know, because I came to Amherst, Massachusetts in 1976. In 1976, I was just coming. I was still on the streets, kind of, sort of, but I was like the environment of the Amherst area, the academic environment spoke to my academic background, and it just, you know, and these were people who were from the hood, but they were here getting an education, so we talked the same language, you know. I was still well read, and they were in school, and I was stimulated. I got stimulated to change. I didn't change at that instant, but I did meet Malaza Muddin, Sharif Razul. I think you housed me. You remember that night? I stayed with him over in Colonial Village for a little while, you know. But that might have been a little later. That might have been in the 80. I came back up in 79 or something like that. You remember me from when I was here before. And anyway, that during that period, I was evolving and coming into my own. So I still don't have a work record. I didn't work, you know. So I was really never a domesticated man. I just really was never a domesticated man. I didn't experience racism in New York at the time because I was always in the street getting love from black people. And so when I got to Massachusetts, and I did go south, and I saw the overt. I saw how overt they were, you know. And I was angry, and I could have not come out of it. I could have gotten myself killed because I didn't have the same docility as what they had in the South, where you know, a policeman. I've seen policemen in the South jump out the car and just beat a black person brutally with their sticks. And that would never happen in New York City. In New York City, even the old mothers, the old grandmothers would go hit the police and say, don't you do that. You know, we fought back. I had a police officer in New York punch me right in my eye. I was a kid, 14 years old. And, you know, they're patrolling. There's an Italian officer. They're patrolling the beat. And, you know, we're out there. And he goes to throw his shoulder into mine. My reflexes was fast. I moved it out the way. He looked at me. I'm looking at him. And he said, what? He walked up and just punched me right in my eye. And I was a strong kid. I didn't even flinch. I didn't even go, ow. I went, boom. I hit him right back in his eye. You know. And the two policemen jumped me and threw me up against the wall. And they started beating my leg. And the other officer knew his partner was wrong. And he said, just let him go. Just let him go. And, you know, they let me go. But the difference between us and you know, well, I took that attitude to the South, and that was very dangerous. I felt it. I felt it that I didn't have the support of the community. I was down in Dade County, Miami, Florida, and I saw a lot of injustices, and I was speaking out on them, and I was paying more attention to the injustices than I was my own hustle and survival for my being down there, wanting to hustle in warm weather, you know, getting away from this climate. But I found myself in marches and doing things that, you know, a selfish lad would not be in, you know. And then I went to jail down there, and there was a guy in the jail, you know, because I was doing the same thing in jail. I was propagating, I was instigating, you know, I was agitating, you know, for change. And this big dude walked up to me and said, come here, brother, with your northern ways. He said, I'm gonna tell you something. He said, these people here, first of all, they will take you out in the jungle and leave you and kill you. And these people here won't say nothing. All this stuff you speaking around here for them, you doing it for the wrong people, you know. And I will use the phrase that he used, you know, and hope that some of y'all don't get offended, but he said, the niggas here are stupid. And I would rather, if I die and come back, I'd rather come back as a mosquito than come back as a Miami nigga. That's how, and that right there convinced me to get out of Miami. This was like this was 76. I left Amherst to go to Miami and do my skullduggery. And I did get out of there, you know. But I came back to Massachusetts. I started getting into the workforce, and I experienced the little subtleties, you know. So, you know, Massachusetts, you know, they're not overt. They're not gonna call you a nigga. They're not gonna say, "Oh, get away!" No. Massachusetts racism is like, "Oh, glad you got a job here, man." You know, we got to get rid of that one. I mean, you know, and it's basically two things. It's basically two things. It's not an institution of white people that get together and hold these meetings and say, you know what, we want to keep all blacks out of this job. We're talking about conditioning, preferences. We're talking about people who prefer to be around their own. We're talking about people who are just afraid of anything different, because that's the conditioning that we have here in the United States. Fear is afraid of anything different. We live in a xenophobic planet, you know. So I scratched that word racism for me getting fired from jobs and people getting rid of me. I don't see it that way anymore. I see it as miseducation and conditioning. And it's not so much that, you know, and privilege. I'm not going to let them off the hook that way, but the privilege, you know. And competition, you know. I'd rather get my cousin who needs a job, because, you know, the economy wasn't nice to white people either, and so everybody wants to help out a family member or member of their community, and, you know, and face it, we're culturally different. You know, we talk loud, we like our music loud, we just culturally different, you know. So if I was living where Shinny and George was living, they would hear my music all down the street. The music would just be playing, you know. That's why, you know, you would not want me in your neighborhood, because I play my music very loud. We like our music loud. Yeah, we like our music loud, and we talk loud, you know. And those cultural mores and forays are not to be acquiesced to something that's maybe apprehensive about, you know, being so, you know, celebrative of your culture. We celebrate our culture. We're very kinetic people, like to dance and sing, move, all of those type of things. We like to wrestle and play, you know, everybody likes that type of thing, but so the difference is, the rub is, we prefer, out of not wanting to understand anything different, to be around our own. And that right there is what I ran across, but I didn't understand it as that at the time. I just took it as, you know, white people. White people. You know, and but where it did me a kindness is, I got fired from a job, and a black woman was she was the head of personnel. And, but by that time I had went down and auditioned for this group that was going to send me on the road singing and all that kind of stuff. She asked me, what, I'm telling you to come back. There's an insurance company here in Greenfield. And she asked me to come back and said, what job do you want? And I was like, I don't want to come back here, because they'll just show me the back door again. So I went and, I went and performed, and that didn't last long, and then I was homeless again, and I get into something that I be homeless again. So I have never been a domesticated person. And then I did go back to school. I did go back to school, get my education in Black history. In Black history, I majored in African American studies. And African American studies was healing for me. It was liberating. Because like a lot of my friends that studied African American history, what they got out of it was anger. And what I got out of it was, oh, that's why my father, I began to understand the effect of slavery on my family and my people. Do you understand? And so it was healing for me. It was liberating. Where I did get angry is when I started walking with Napanzame and Hoji. I met them in 1993 on a Juneteenth walk. And they became family, and I've been walking with them. I walked with them for a good 10 years before I set out on my own. But I was on a Napanzame and Hoji walk, and I learned about Nikola Tesla. And I mean, when I learned what they did to him, when I learned that we could all be chilling, we can all have energy, free energy, night and day. You don't run out. It's an infinite amount of energy, and we were being held hostage. The entire planet was being held hostage, to central energy. Then that's when I did get angry, and that's when I knew I had to pick up One People, One Earth, and someone made me a flag that said One People, One Earth. You might see it in the video, and I went on what I'm called, I traveled through Japan. I walked through Japan, by myself. Are you familiar with the Peace Pilgrim? Yes. Yes. Well, I subscribe to her integrity. So what that means is, it's my choice to not be in the system. That's my choice. I have to take responsibility for that choice. That means that my family and friends don't owe me any support for that. If they choose not to, that's fine, because, we're conditioned that you taking responsibility is working, getting a job, holding your own, blah, 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 Well, I saw it differently, and I just stepped away from the system, and the space that she set was the space that Sojourner Truth had set before. She was walking until someone offered her a ride. She would camp out until someone offered her a place to stay. And she fasted until someone offered her food. So that means that's an inner resolve to say, I'm prepared to go hungry. I'm prepared to suffer any consequence for this choice. But I believe in this choice, and if I'm correct, and if I'm in alignment with my God, I'm not going to suffer. I'm not going to starve. I'm not going to. So when you look at those slides, of the pilgrimages that I've been on, you see how far that faith has carried me, to how many countries around the world, just sticking to being on the sojourn of my own truth, which is going against the psyche of this separateness that's being handed to us. And I'm saying, no, we're all one. And that works both sides too, because, I got to deal with nationalists who's like, man, I got people that I know that, They don't want to see you. They don't want to know you. They don't want you on their television. They don't trust nothing about you. You know, and some even go further. They would rather see all of you off the earth. Okay? I mean, so when you got people like me and Tim Bullock and Myrna, and you got people who are really putting our truth forward to say, I mean, we're getting flack and pressure from both sides. You got some that don't like it. They want me off the earth. You got some like that, and then you got some that would say, we want them off the earth, and if you like them, and if you're trying to be with them, we want you off the earth too. So I want you to get the impetus of what it means to step out on faith, talking about one people, one earth. It has its challenges. It has its challenges. But it has its grace too, because if I was wrong in that choice, I wouldn't have been able to visit so many places. I wouldn't have been able to do the things that I've done. I never hit bottom. I never, ever hit bottom. I enjoy sleeping out on the earth. I had what I need. I had 10. Everybody called me the penthouse pilgrim. I never, I had laptop, I had cell phone, I had an outfit for every occasion, ceremony, you want to invite me to church. I'd walk, I'd have a nice size backpack on my back, and if I didn't meet anybody and I didn't find anybody, I'd always find a safe place to pitch my tent, where I didn't have to sleep with one eye open. My thing was do nature, be nature, become nature. So I never did cities. I would go lay my head. I'd go to nature. That's where I would go. Because that's who we are. That's our true identity. That's all we are. We're nature. We are one body. We're cells in one body, in the planet. The body of this planet. And this planet is a cell in the body of this universe. And this universe is a cell in the body of the infinity. But it's all oneness. And it just makes sense to me. And I have to propagate it. And propagating it is all I want to do. To me, it's the greatest job in the world. To stand here before people and even in those in their nationalistic thinking cannot argue with the body. The body, you want a nation state? You're a nationalist, you want a nation state? Well, guess what? That's what every organ in your body is. Your lung has cells in that organ that is specific to that organ. That's nationalistic. That's nationalistic. So the cell, the lung is a nation state. The heart is a nation state. The spleen, all of them organs are nation states because no other cell can go in there and hang out. It's a cell specific to that organ. But at least they know that there are organs in one body. And you're not going to find the heart cell going to war with the lung cell. They are cooperating with each other in order for the body to function. And that's what we got to do as people. We got to understand ourselves as cells in a body, in one body. So that abolishes, that makes me an abolitionist of fear. I work with the MSA, they're abolitionists of racism, which to me is fear. Sexism is fear. Ageism is fear. All the isms and schisms at the bottom, when you take off those costumes, you take away those labels, all you're going to see there is, I'm scared. I'm scared of women getting, in equal balance with us. I'm scared of other cultures, something different getting equal balance with us. That's what we're talking about. So MSA, Napanza Miyahoji, abolitionists of nuclear warfare, and they put their campaign for one people, one earth as well. Mulazimuddin Sharif, your order, one people, one earth. No doubt? I want you to offer us a prayer too. You can, you might. It is gonna happen whether we like it or not. It doesn't matter who don't want it to happen. It's gonna happen anyway. And I'm glad to be the one that's working with these organizations who I consider modern day abolitionists. In the area that was a hotbed of abolitionists, Frederick Douglass, Sojourner Truth, and all of them were all in and out of here. And so we're taking on the modern role of Sojourner Truth. I'm a modern day Sojourner Truth. Let me make that clear. Isabella Baumfree gave herself the name because she was taking on a sojourn of truth. Anybody that takes on a sojourn of truth is a sojourner of truth. Anybody, any of you could be a sojourner of truth. All you have to do is be your truth, live your truth, become your truth. Whatever that is, whatever piece of the puzzle that you feel is your assignment to take, to bring change, to raise the frequency of this planet. That's my job. That's what I do when I go to all these places. I go to do emotional release work, to raise the frequency. It's alchemy. Nobody's going to understand that. You know, some of the people that support me and sponsor me, they know Brother NorthStar. They know exactly what I'm doing. A lot of people don't understand the ethereal plane that I'm working on, the fifth dimensional plane that I'm working on, transforming energy. I walked with the Nippon Mia Hoji. They drum and chant Namum Yo-Ho Renge Kyo. So they'll go to D.C., they'll go to nuclear test sites, they'll go to places where uranium mines are at. They'll go, and they're politically confronted with prayer. They go to these places and they chant and they pray. I walked with them and I enjoyed the walks going through nature and, you know, all the in between behind the road. You know, I was just, I love that. I could live like that, you know. But then when we got into the tension of where the School of Americas, we drummed and chanted outside of there, you know, along the way there, I really understood that my assignment was to take the focus off of what is and what is coming. One people, one earth, heaven on earth is coming. And that's where my work is like, when something bad happened to you, you can live there and focus on that, or you can change your circumstance by focusing on the circumstance you would prefer. Do you understand? Yeah. I focus on the circumstance of this planet that I would prefer. It is not any import if I live to see it. I did what I came here to do. That's what matters to me. You know, I do believe I'll live to see it. But if I don't, I live my life on my terms, and I will go out on my terms. So I walk I walked across Mexico, I walked across Guatemala, I walked across Belize, and I've gone into the danger zones of all of those places. Mexico City, don't go there, you can't go there. I went to Mexico City and I found love. All the danger zone places, war-torn countries that I've gone to, I found love, I found family. I believe, I walk with the thought in my mind, the earth is my home and humanity is my family. And that's what I found everywhere I went. I never hit the street. I never hit the ground. Never. Ever. And so I was scared to walk across the United States. I walked across the United States in the Kwanzaa. Yeah, I walked across, you know, Mexico and Japan and Guatemala places. And I was like, oh man, with the United States. But I had walked across, I learned how all these miracles fall into place, how all these molecules fall into place and shape your reality by walking with them. And walking with the intention, you know, walking with what intention did I hold? Humanity is my family and Mother Earth is my home. That was the intention that I held, and always to leave the place a little bit better than you found it, you know. to come in peace and go in peace, you know. And so, the Parmesan Hoji, when they come to a place, you know, I imagine when they came to New York and got to my apartment, they standing outside my building hanging the drugs, you know, and honoring the building. They do that when they come to your apartment, you know, they greet your environment, not just you, but your environment. And then before they leave, they greet and honor you and your environment. What a lovely way. Now we do it differently, you know. We greet, we do the same thing, but you know, theirs is the divinity in me bow to the divinity in you. And, you know. So I learned to walk the ways of peace from the Panzan Hoji, make sure I pick up after myself. You know, when I leave your home, to make sure I leave no sign of the trace I was ever there, either materially or psychically, you know. So it does not mean that I will acquiesce to you. It does not mean that you can say things that I think that, if you say something to me and I think, I'll be honest with you, I got white friends in the peace movement who I've had to have dialogue with about certain things they say, and they didn't like it. They didn't take hold to, you know, like I'm a guest in their home, and I don't check somebody by saying no, you know, but you know, if we're having a discussion, if we're having a dialogue, and I give you a point of view, you know, and some will take offense to that point of view, and so and it's not up for discussion. It's not. I'm just to acquiesce, and I'm saying that no, it doesn't work that way. You know, you welcome me into your home. I'm eating your food. I'm partaking of your pots. All these things are lovely, but no, it doesn't make me or break me. You know, staying out. I could leave your house in the middle of the night, in the dead of cold of the winter, you know, to honor my truth. You know. And so I've had falling ins and falling outs with a lot of liberal, bleeding heart liberals that don't understand that they're still perpetuating this thing they call racism on so many levels. And when you describe it to them, you know, that's not an area that they're ready to change at this particular time. And because they're not ready to change it at that particular time, I choose to, you know, and you don't want to hear it from me, and I choose to stay away from that, you know. So I did the I Am America Medicine walk across the United States. I had stage fright because the United States is very scary. I went through the South. I went through all the places, and I got nothing but love. I got nothing but treated very nicely, you know. But mind you, walking, not hitchhiking, you know, just